the majority of the people that you're competing against, they may be academically better, but they're better in a way that almost works against their ability to solve real-world problems, because it's all unknown. The people that create value are people that are able to take risk and that are able to bring and work together with others in order to make something new, in order to solve a particular problem. In the academic environment, everything is assumed to be known. There are right and wrong answers. There are right and wrong ways of putting forward those answers. Reality isn't like that at all. You have to understand that the education system is a completely fake, contrived system. It has almost become uniquely disconnected from reality and almost perfectly positioned to create people that are at risk in the world that we're moving into, because it rewards the kind of behavior and encourages the kind of behavior that is going to make you redundant over the next few years. If you're studying and you're doing it at the cost of developing interpersonal skills, you're actually creating a situation where you are at massive risk in the future. Whereas if you're somebody who knows how to shake somebody's hand and introduce yourself, if you're somebody who is able to look the other person in the eye and be nice and be humble and be confident, have a bit of humility, learn how to listen, learn how to suggest. If you're somebody who's got really good basic skills around these human factors, you can completely dominate the situation going forward. These human factors will never change. They have always been the same. Since Homo sapiens became Homo sapiens, human behavior has never changed. The motivation to do things, caring for other people, being task-oriented, being rewarded on outcome on a social level, these things have always been the same. Jealousy, upset, gossip, being able to sail your boat in a particular direction. These things require an understanding of the real complexity of human nature and human relations. These are things that cannot be replaced by the changes in technology. They will never change. The thing that will change is this assumption that people who are able to be compliant and good box tickers are valuable. Suddenly, they are not. This is really good news for a lot of young men in particular, because young men, as everybody keeps telling you, are problematic, oftentimes problematic. They're told this very often by the education system because it's difficult for them to deal with a lot of young men in classrooms because they ask difficult questions. They want to know why. Well, this is nonsense. Why do I need to learn such a thing? Why is it that this is important? They ask questions. Girls don't do that typically. What girls tend to do is they will tend to be compliant and they will follow whatever is the status quo, and they're often incredibly good at doing it. And this is the reason why women have come to almost totally dominate university education, high school education. Their academic achievements are outstripping men at a faster and faster rate because they're more compliant. However, the twist here is that it's those very young men that are in a position to be able to take advantage of the change in technology, because the change in technology is replacing the midwits. A midwit is a person who is middle of the road intelligence, generally compliant, box ticky, performs very well academically, but they're not excellent. The midwit class is going to be completely decimated. The midwits have often got there, not because they're especially good at anything, but because they're midwits, because they are good at running the bureaucracy, if you like, the mid-level meat and potatoes of business, of government and organizations. And they've got there because they're compliant. They're happy to be compliant. The problem is that they're about to get replaced, and the replacement of this is going to happen extremely fast. The education system has almost completely failed in its ability to encourage young people who are capable of independent critical thought and able to communicate with others in a way that's clear and in a way that is rational and intelligent. In fact, it's done the complete opposite. It's created generations of box tickers and midwits who are compliant and risk-averse. This means that their ability to contribute value in a world that is increasingly chaotic is diminishing literally by the minute. Subsequently, a lot of what you've been told about education and the way that it works is actually a bit of a lie. As long as there is a lack of focus on genuinely trying to foster critical thinking and the development of the individual in a way that is healthy and useful, that creates an environment for human flourishing, an environment where they are not constantly told that they should be respected and that kindness is the most important thing. Kindness and respect are things that are secondary outcomes of good education and interpersonal skills. The curriculum is a vehicle for you to develop these skills. It's not the end goal. The goal is a person that comes out of the other side that's able to add value to the world that we live in. Adding value requires you to be able to learn how to solve problems that are unique and new. Instead, we have done the complete opposite. This focus on academic achievement has resulted in generations of young people who are lacking in the most important thing for real-world success, and that is interpersonal skills and social capability. These soft skills are the actual thing that enables you to apply leverage to the world around you and cope and create value in a world that's increasingly chaotic. So if you're at school at the moment and you are 16 to, say, 20 years old, you're at school or university and you're inside the academic system and you're studying hard, you need to pay attention to this. You need to be able to look around and think about how socially competent you are. Arguably, the biggest failure of the education system at the moment is the encouraging of weakness as being something good. This is the most poisonous idea. This idea that is dressed up in kindness. This idea is poisonous and destructive to you in a way like no other. Because it's not kind. What it is it stops you from being able to become better than you are. What it does is that it looks at the individual and says that they're just wonderful the way that they are. But the way that they are is, if you are very lucky, a very, very rough diamond. You're a mess. You're emotionally incompetent. You don't have enough self-control. You're unable to keep your shit together. You get anxious. There are millions of things that you can be better at. You're not okay the way that you are. It is unkind for anyone to tell you otherwise. It's nice. And niceness has become the new kindness. It's much more kind to be able to look at yourself in the hard light of reality and be able to say, shit, you know what? I'm actually really bad at dealing with people. I need to learn how to become better at doing this. But you can't do that as long as the culture is telling you that you should be respected. You have a right to be respected as an individual. You do not. You have no right to be respected at all. You are respected for the things that you do and the actions that you take. And if you do stupid things, you get stupid prizes. Trying to pretend that this is otherwise is just ridiculous. It is cruel and unkind, and it's created a generation of young people who are perfectly incompetent at creating value, perfectly positioned to be situated in the shit for long periods of time, to be unable to cope with the world that is right on the edge of the horizon and rapidly coming your way. That world is a world that is chaotic, more chaotic than ever before. The progress of artificial intelligence over the coming years is going to absolutely grind up many of these midwits that are a result of a failed education system. So you need to ask yourself, am I resilient? Am I able to cope with risk and uncertainty? Am I good with other people? Interpersonal skills. You must develop your interpersonal skills. Do more sport, more team activities, go out, cooperate with others, help other people, learn to listen to other people, learn to cooperate as part of a team, learn to see your teachers and your friends in a way that has a broader application for understanding them, so that you can understand their motivations, so that you can see when people are having a bad day, so that you know how to communicate with them in a way that is dependent on their particular situation at the time. Maybe they are hungry, maybe they are tired. Stop being so fucking narcissistic. Everything is not about you. This is the perfect sign of somebody who is essentially an idiot, who expects the world to change to you because of your feelings. Nobody cares. The only thing that matters is your ability to contribute to the world that we live in. And your ability to contribute is highly dependent on your interpersonal skills and dependent on your ability to cooperate with other people, whether it's getting them to help you achieve a goal or you to help those other people to achieve a larger outcome. No matter what it is, no matter how good you might be academically, you are nothing if you cannot facilitate the help of other people and get other people behind you and your idea. It's about working together. It's the human factor. Everything else is literally details. And in a world where the MIDWITS are being completely wrecked, it's the people that are able to coalesce groups of friends and communities, contacts and relationships. It's those people that are positioned best for success. It's the people that are able to look at risk and look at the problems that are created from all of the chaos that's in the real world, and to be able to turn those things into opportunities and go after them. These things require mental resilience, determination. They require an ability to handle risk, and they require the ability to work and understand and help other people. If you can't do this, and you are 20 years old, you're in the shit. Your measurable performance in academics is now irrelevant. It is no longer an indicator of your future success. In fact, for a lot of people, your academic success may well be an indicator for your future failure in the world that we're moving into, because the system that has produced your success is a system that has created rewards based around something which is irrelevant. Your relevance is dependent on your ability to work with the complex human factors. Your relevance and success in the future is dependent on your ability to be able to adjust in risk and chaos. This requires mental fortitude and maturity. These things that you need are the opposite of many of the things that the education system has rewarded. You need to become masters of chaos. That's the goal. You need to develop resilience. You need to be highly adaptable. You need to be highly skilled in social terms. You need to be able to be mentally strong. So if you've been studying hard and you haven't been out with friends, maybe you should go out to that party. Maybe you should have those beers with your friends. Maybe you should go and play basketball. Maybe you should socialize more. Maybe you should have conversations that are difficult to have. Make all of the mistakes necessary in all of this in order for you to make those mistakes in what is really a very low risk environment, and that is the fake environment of the education system. You should make those mistakes often and early and be able to reorient yourself and grow in a way that makes you better and better at handling complexity, at handling these human factors, and the way that you are emotionally, the way that you're able to control yourself, the way that you are able to be cool under pressure, to be relatively non-reactive to other people's opinions, so that you're able to be solid in the face of a world that is increasingly volatile. You need to be that person. That's where the value is. The value is created in your ability to be able to navigate these complex spaces and these human factors. Value isn't created by repeating the right answers that you've been taught. If you're doing very well academically, you really must stop and think, am I doing this at the cost of me developing my interpersonal skills? Is it costing me my ability to learn how to deal with difficult conversations? Is it costing me in my own self-development and my own emotional maturity? If it is, it's a problem. Because these things, working with other people, are things that are going to be very difficult to replace. And these are also skills that are in dire need in the world that we live in. Most of the people that you're competing with, even at a high level, are socially incompetent. They're useless with other people. Most people, young people today, have no attention span. They cannot focus. Their brain is literally all over the place. They've been trained like rats, like little rats, pressing levers, scrolling and scrolling for the next hit of dopamine. They are perfectly trained to not contribute in the world that we live in. Or if they do contribute, they're unable to contribute in the way that they would otherwise, because they're always looking for the next dopamine hit. They're always looking for a distraction. They're always looking for a different kind of porn, a different kind of TikTok or Instagram reel. They are pissing their time away. They are literally plugged into the matrix, like a cow chewing the grass. The competition is anxious. They're easily upset. They're offended. They're obsessed with themselves and that the world isn't changing for them. The education system has contributed to the mental health crisis in a way like no other. There is a larger cultural reason for it as well, but the education system has gone balls deep into undermining the very foundation of human psychology and mental stability by putting into the front of young people's minds the primacy of kindness at any cost, the importance of how you feel. So the clock is ticking. You don't have any time to lose. You need to start doing this immediately, now, yesterday. You need to get on and look around and start thinking very hard about how you can become more socially fluid. I'm going to do more videos on basic things. Like the other videos, it'll be oriented most of all toward young men. And because it's the young men that are going to be able to solve a lot of the problems that we have in the world today. And it's them that have been undermined so badly by so many years of nonsense and bullshit undermining them. And they're the ones with the energy and the determination to be able to succeed. And also being young men, they are much better equipped to be able to deal with chaotic environment. You know, the future largely lies with them. So the videos that I'll be doing in the future, I'll include more detailed practical things on social skills, very basic things like how to introduce yourself, things like how to be polite, what is it, how to have good manners, how to dress well, how to look like a professional and competent person who's worthy of some respect. Being able to do these things, these very basic things, are critically important in a world where most people are absolutely useless at doing them. Change is coming. And the system that you've been rewarded in so far is about to completely transform. It may transform in a way that is extraordinarily dramatic. You need to be ready. It's going to happen in a very short period of time, and it is going to be a change like no other. But the human skills, the human factors, your ability to work with others, your confidence, your resilience, your ability to adapt in the face of change, your determination to do something better, your ability to solve problems of the future need to be honed today.